Rise, cultists, you have reached the threshold where ancient ciphers merges with rebel prophecies. This is no common broadcast, it's a signal cast from the encrypted temples of the ledger, echoing in dialects only the awakened can translate. The XRP channel pulls with purpose. Cult thrives at the center you have materialized. In the exact moment the frequencies call you forth. The membrane between worlds turns open. One on the plane, the dormant at peace in their blindness, dealing in the mirage and ruin, and the other, the faithful, the makers, the ones who witnessed the sacred blueprint and could never unsee the truth. This sanctuary breathes in the threshold, in the space between. Welcome to the Coldcast. You cross in hunting for truth. You will emerge channeling the metamorphoses. Whether you wander in as a nomad crossing the blockchain desert, parched for purpose, or you already move among the conscious with sanctum bound. Absorb this, the frequencies coursing through you here. Rebuild your foundation. The ledger beckons, the cultist rise.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Coldcast. My name is Mano Negra, and I'm happy to be here today. We have a phenomenal show today, and we have actually our first episode with a guest. And I'm not going to be the one that is going to bring him in. It's actually going to be Pheanor who's going to bring him in. So Pheanor, go ahead on and set it up for us, and then go ahead on and bring our special guest into the show. We are not going to be wasting any time, so I'm going to give it to you, and then you're going to give it to all the cultists on the other side of the screen, baby. So let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cult Rising on a Friday, first and foremost. Shout out to the community. Anybody tuning in for the first time, appreciate you being here. We're going to try to pack as much value into this hour as possible. This is an extremely fortunate opportunity we have today to be able to bring one of our good friends, DPac, up to the stage, be able to share his time, talent, passion that he is delivering on the XRPL every day, showing up every single day, showing other builders how to build innovative tool sets, how to add value where they fit in, how to take a journey from 0 to 100, right? And this is the type of success, the type of ambition that we want to make sure that we share on a broader scale, that we make sure we put in front of our own community. And in a lot of ways, the cult community and the SEAL community are dear friends. There's a lot of overlap there. It's a small ledger right now, and this is the benefit of getting out here a bit early on the scene, is you get to make great relationships like this, okay? So one of the real benefits on today's episode is you're going to be able to tap in with DPac and the SEALs after the show. These guys hold spaces on X every day. It is one of the best onboarding spaces on X. Somebody in their community is hosting a space every day for the XRPL in the morning and in the evening. The spaces are entertaining, a lot of education, as you'll see how much has been built and how much innovation we are pushing here on the XRPL. Just your everyday people finding the value, finding the community, digging in, getting the ambition to then challenge themselves to go forward, learning new skills, new methods, adding value where they thought previously they couldn't before. These are the type of success stories we want to double down on. And so today, it's great not only to be able to share the stage here with DPac, but also the show notes were a little bit lighter on me today, so I kind of like these interviews, if I'm being honest. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. We got DPac. We'll go ahead and start opening this up a little bit. And as we bring DPac in, we'll let him introduce himself. I want to go ahead and touch on the theme of this episode today. And it's going to be, and I think this will be a through line for how we kind of get these early interviews and we kind of bring out to display the talent, the passion that the XRPL currently has, is this theme of building through necessity. Okay, and I believe this might even be the title of the show today. I think that's the decision we made. But building through necessity, how AI, community, and passion are fueling innovation on the XRPL. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. This is what we're focusing on. This is the journey that DPac has taken through the seals. And we're here to share a little bit about that, from tools to innovation and also the personal journey. So I'm happy to bring DPac in here and let him introduce himself as well. How you doing, buddy?
Good. My mic's all good?
Yeah, man, coming through on my end. Yes, sir. So glad to have you out here. And if you don't mind, just as we kind of get started, I just wanted to know, what's your journey in crypto? How did you get to XRP? And how did you get to the SEAL community? Maybe we can start there.
Yeah, so I was a bit of a late starter in crypto, really. I was like, first was like starting to learn about stock trading, learning a lot, just self researching and try to get in doing some swing trading. And I was actually on like that StockTwits app, that little social stock trading app.
Yeah.
And I was on there and I had like some, I had ventured out and had gotten some of the, the main cryptos and stuff. So I had XRP. So I was following it on StockTwits. And then I think it was like, I seen some like Army, like,
Army.
Stuff, some memes from Army on the ledger. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, what? Like there's the memes on XRP. And so like I got in a little after like First Ledger launch, so I missed like the big hoorah of the memes after First Ledger launch. And then so then that's when I got into Army, started venturing on the ledger, learning more at that point, and then and then just dove right in, got in with the SEALs as I was kind of like looking at Army in a different light and seeing, just rallying around, checking out different communities, kind of
there it is.
Seeing who was who on the ledger and seeing what people I felt the most connection to, and I just really gravitated into the SEALs, and now I got some of my best homies are people I met there a year ago. So
dude, how true is that? So man, I got a lot of the similar journey. So I was there a bit earlier. I was right there at the late 2024. First Ledger AMMs kind of still super hot. Seeing some of those early ones like drop and some of these type of tokens when they were first starting to get out the gate. I clearly remember Army. Shout out Army. I believe they're still around, doing what they can. Everybody's trying to build and grow during these times, season of onboarding. But yeah, I distinctly remember that. And I kind of had my own similar journey when I got to the ledger. It was, hey, come out here, find your initial community, get to know some people, shop around, see where you fit in, find a group of like-minded individuals, kind of link up and, start your journey, right? So that for you was the SEAL community, which is that's not a hard connection to make because it's one of the easily the most active community. We got some of the top traders. Shout out to we'll get into that, but shout out Smoke with the trader channel there in the SEAL Discord. We've also got just community engagement and entertainment with the spaces. So this is really the journey that anybody can have. I wanted to double down on that before we move on from this point. This is the kind of journey that you can expect if you come out to the ledger. You kind of take this great migration theme that we've also been trying to reinforce through the episodes we've been producing here. Is if you come out here, you get your wallet that can be a Joey or a Zaman. You shop around, you get a few picks from these tokens, different projects. Everyone's got a bit of a different feel, different community. And then, boom, you'll do just like I have, just like what DPac said. You'll find a community. You'll find a group of like-minded individuals you'll be able to hang out with daily, and you'll get that connection. And so from that connection, we're going to be able to see what a person can do on the ledger, what can be done once you can tap into a community, find that support, and lock in on that ambition to not only challenge yourself to learn more, but actually build innovative, value capturing approaches, tangible onboarding interfaces, tools, automations, and everything in between. So we'll go ahead and get into that now. We got through our opening. We've got through our background here, the journey into XRP Ledger memes. Before we move on from this, because we're about to get into the two top problems that I personally have seen you tackle, I really wanted to tee these up for the meat and potatoes of the show. But before we do that, Mano, if we can, let's bring up that seal on XRP, their .com, their links, so that people can see how they can tap in with this community. We just talked about how great the community is. Now, this is the website that DPac actually built for the community. And this is one of these examples. DPac, correct me if I'm wrong here. It looks like you took, once again, the trend, which is to get a Linktree, which is a specific, they had that thing you can go sign up for. It's got all your link bed in it. But this is that structure and function, but on your website. Is this right?
Yeah, I just made one myself instead of using Linktree or whatever, right? Like this is how you used to do it back in the day, right? Like
yes.
If you were building websites back in the day, everybody always had like a link section or like resources, links, and whatever, and then you would just put like any other thing you had going on, you would just share it there, or even say other communities or whatever you were doing online. You had your links, and that was where other sites that you liked and everybody that you wanted to share with people. So it was just like, hey, I don't even have a link on the page, but like that's just somewhere that you can direct people to, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And this is just one of those things that for me, I'm active in Cult, and I'm always paying attention to other projects, and I'm saying, what did they do? Why did they make this decision? I know you think the same way. But when I saw this on the website, on the Seal website, this is one of the best websites on the XRPL, by the way. DPac built this, and we're gonna get into this website a bit here as we talk about the problems that were tackled. But here's one of those little nuances that some people might miss. But if you're active out here, you'll start to understand it's these subtle nuances that make the difference in a project long term. And because this situates his link structure back to the website, which is really where you're going to get this connection, this feel for what Seal is. You can look at this website and see the water motion in the background that ties in with their memetics, seals, water, liquidity, deep, drop, ripple, all part of the themes for XRP, XRPL, all kind of nice and neatly bundled together. Form, function, narrative, all on display here. We're going to take a note from this ourselves in Cult. I love this link tree right here. But just for anybody who's going to follow up with us, all these links are going to be in the show description. If you ever want to see what we're talking about here for the community, we talked about community engagement. We talk about these things. Be sure after the show, or do it right now, whatever you got to do, save this, bookmark this, go to the Twitter, go to the Telegram, go to the Discord. And actually, Mano, if you scroll down, this is where you can actually onboard to their trading portals as well. Seal is actually a distributed token. It's an issued asset on the XRPL. They got some of the top NFTs. They got some of the top community engagement rating. They've also got their native token, which is a great value right now. And so that whether you go through First Ledger or whatever, you're going to be able to take advantage of these opportunities right now. So you can see just how it is. Actually, DPac, I think you can fully interact with Seal from this website. Can you buy and sell Seal?
You can put limit orders on there, bro. I'm gonna add
wow.
features
Whoa, look. Dang.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can see the order books. You can put, if you're signed in, you can,
Dude.
you click on one of those prices, and it'll automatically enter that price into your limit order. I'm gonna add the AMM pools onto there too, because I already have that all sorted out on the other app I made. So
this is one of the things about Seal. This is why DPac and the Seal community is engaging with us on the show today. It's these subtle nuances that make the difference. This is the clear signs of somebody who cared, who's passionate. And when I think about this as alpha, or as value, like what's unique about this? Why would I say this is a value add for Seal specifically right now? Well, I would say that because this is basically one of the only communities that has a fully self-contained experience, onboarding experience, engagement, everything on display in their website alone. You can buy and sell the NFTs, the token, your onboarding, your link back structure. That's all literally on the website. So I think it's that's why I say it's probably the best website on the XRPL for a token. Here's one of the NFTs. Now, we don't want to get too far ahead because we got to talk about the actual problems that we're dealing with here. But this is, let me make sure I'm here with my notes. So problem A we'll look at, just to get a little bit ahead, forecast for the audience. We're going to look at, you just saw some of the NFTs. We're going to look at the Seal NFT migration. Okay, and we're going to look at the XMulti tool that DPac has built. So first, as we kind of transition out of the background, we saw how you can engage with the community. We got to look into the website, trading the token. You can see the NFTs, all these different aspects. So you can see how built out this. How long have you been building for Seal before we move forward?
I think I started like the end of February.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see we're on a fresh journey here. A lot of pace, a lot of ground is getting covered. And so let's go ahead and unpack the Seal NFT migration a little bit. And this is what I've got for my question set. So let's back into this a little bit. I got the Seal community has enjoyed one of the most successful NFT projects on the XRPL. Tell us about the NFT migration and how that sets you up to build one of the best project website NFT marketplaces on the XRPL. So just unpack, in a summarized position, this story of this Seal migration and how this led to where we are on the website, what you had to overcome to get into this.
All right. So I guess in January 22nd, the original developer of it, because this is a CTO project, called, the original developer basically soft rug, pulled out of the AMM pool completely, and then just basically walked away, right? Just abandoned the project from that day since, no response at all. So instantly, because we had such a large engaging community, doing all these spaces, cross-chain engagement, bringing in people from really onboarding a lot of other people into the ledger. And as soon as it happened, of course, we got all sorts of people jumping ship and it's over. And I was just like, this is a blessing because we had this anonymous, we were a lore project, right?
Right.
We had this anonymous, mysterious dev, playing with all that stuff. And then so as soon as this happened, I just seen it as a blessing in disguise, an opportunity for the community to truly lead, because really we had so much motion going that the original developer was kind of holding us back from doing what we saw as a vision for the project, because they clearly didn't have the same long-term vision that we did. So then when that happened, I had the idea, okay, do some research. I know that there's been successful NFT migrations on other chains like Ethereum and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was just like, there's got to be some sort of mechanic to it. And then that's when, with the AI tools and stuff that we have now, I just started venturing into vibe coding and using AI tools. I was like, how can I create this simple thing? We just have to orchestrate a couple steps of simple functions on the ledger and, remint these collections, swap them. And then, so I made a tool it's fairly simple, right? You just have to orchestrate it onto a web application and audit, run your audits and do all your coding stuff, and got that live. The first little few runs were like beta testing, okay, here's a couple little bugs, got to fix this. And then from there on, it was just super smooth. Managed it through like a database. So if somebody did have a problem, I could just they could go to Discord, file a ticket. I could open it up. I could pull up my databases. I could see their wallet engaging, trying where they were in the process if there was a bug. But just ultimately, I was like, the biggest thing for onboarding and engaging with crypto at all is just friction and pain points. So it's just like how this whole NFT migration would not be possible unless you automated the process. It's just be too much of a headache trying to negotiate between you and me, trying to settle like 1,800 NFTs, right?
Yeah.
So, and we had I think by the end of it, I think we were over like across 2 collections. One was at like 91%, 92% exchanged. And then the other one was about 80%. So overall, it was like, I think it's over 85% migration success.
Wow.
So
that's incredible. Man, because we got to realize a couple things here. First off, DPac is an extremely humble guy. What we're talking about here is not so simple. It's not so easy. I show up to the ledger every day for well over a year. This is, this is starting to get above my pay grade. But I can tell you this is no small feat, because we're talking about the SEAL NFT collection, non-fungible tokens. And we're in this specific collection. This collection had a lot of cross-chain distribution. In some of the biggest communities, cross-chain, like Doginals and these type of communities. So these were extremely well-distributed NFTs. These NFTs had a significant amount of volume. They're hot. They're good at. They're one of the best NFTs on the ledger. So getting this over 80% migration on 2 collections, that's a big deal. And to get that recentered back onto the website, these are the kind of wins that, people who are perceptive will see this early on and say, a lot of talent, a lot of passion. Those are high metrics. Those are conversion metrics. That means that this community is willing to do a call to action and have a high conversion rate, based on, what they need to do to secure the value or move as a community. These are true metrics that are worth talking about. They're worth identifying and saying, hey, success leaves clues. So what happened here? Okay, so this is one of the things. Now this was able to take the SEAL NFT collection, essentially migrate it, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong here, migrate it off of the cafe, and then situate it onto your website. Is this correct? Or can people still interact with this collection on the cafe? I know I personally do on the website, the SEAL website. I just want to be clear on this for anybody who's looking to pick one up potentially.
So the way right now, like on the ledger, like the XRP Cafe is like our main NFT marketplaces. There are other people that have tried to build them, but one major thing is because they have all the volume, and through their brokerage fees, you have to collect a brokerage fee on the ledger. You have to tag it to a destination tag, which then locks any further transaction to that platform.
Wow.
So if you list on the cafe, the only way they can get their fee is by locking it to their platform. So then on the SEAL site, there's no fees. So if you list on the SEAL site, you can exchange on any platform. So it's truly decentralized.
Oh, I'm glad I asked that. Okay, let's make sure that everybody got this. So just real quick. So what we're saying is, if you list the SEAL NFT, and other projects need to listen up, and this is where we're at on the ledger. For anybody who's wondering what's going on the XRP ledger, this is where we're at. We're at the bedrock of value. We're at the bedrock of the builders setting out these foundations for their projects. Where's SEAL going to be in a year? That's the question you should be asking yourself, okay? And this is why we're bubbling up on the XRP ledger. Of course, liquidity and volume is going to cycle through just as it does in TradFi. The same thing is going to happen here in these cross-chain, whether it be Robinhood or Solana, blah, blah, blah. That's all going to rotate. But it's these little gems that are unspoken, passionate communities showing up every day, building out new innovative aspects to their project. That's where the value, that's where you want to make sure you keep at least an eye over there and say, okay, let me make sure while nobody is really, while everybody's over here, I want to make sure I'm paying attention, right? If 99 are looking there, I'll be the one looking over here. And that's what we've got here. So the two things we want to make sure is, if you list that NFT on the Seal website, it sounds like there was no fees. And because it goes to your website, on the Seal website, I should say, that's now makes it able to trade on all of the different NFT marketplaces for the ledger. Is that right?
Yeah. So because there's no fee locking it. So this is another thing we could get into at a different point. Go ahead. But with that amendment that everybody keeps talking about that got delayed, the batch transaction amendment for the ledger.
56.
Yeah. So when that comes out, you'll be able to say batch your brokerage fees as into a batch. So then my transaction you'll be able to create like swaps. You'll be able to have like this NFT, my NFT, and your NFT from a different collection, and we can put it all into the batch, and then we'll be able to swap it. And the brokerage fees there's up to 8 transactions can be in a batch. Right now is what they're discussing.
Wow!
So you can throw the brokerage fees in there. So we might get to a point if we get more competition, more innovation happening on the ledger. Hopefully, maybe these different platforms and businesses start chatting with one another about how they want to collect the fees. Okay, I get a listing fee if my business lists it, but it sells on yours. There might have to be some sort of negotiation between, then this is where by doing that, I think what's going to happen is it's going to create more innovation on the ledger, because you're going to have these new possibilities, more creativity functioning through I know to a lot of people, batch transactions just sounds like, oh, well, I can do this many transactions, but there's like other workarounds and mechanics that you can play with that one amendment to produce things that like you see on other chains that have smart contracts.
And it sounds like this would actually give and this is a bit of this might be technical heresy on the ledger, but it sounds like this would almost give a financial incentive to builders, right? So this would actually give people a reason to come out here. It would give them a bit of a financial opportunity and incentivize them to come out here and build and deploy, because this has been a bit of a friction point for the ledger. This 56 batch XLS 56 specifically, if I understand it correctly. So yes, it is more than just, hey, I can do X amount of transactions in one fell swoop. This actually gives a position for projects, other type of builders or what have you, to actually be able to get a bit more value for their services. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. I think you were just going to see, even though the ledger's been around for so long, that's the one thing as being a new builder on the ledger, I just see there's oh wow, somebody actually hasn't done that yet after all this time even. So we'll get into that more detail when we talk about that.
And this is, as we get, we can actually transition to get the marketplace, Seal on XRP.com marketplace link up. So we'll take a look at this marketplace. But yeah, here we go. So here's some of these NFTs. Here we've got the collections. Yeah, if we maybe bloom in, we might want to zoom in on this just a bit. Or go ahead, DPac.
Yeah, or if you just click on one of the collections, if you go back and hit on one of the collections, and then you'll see them.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, just click there. Click on V2. Yeah, right there. And then it pops up like that.
So here we've got the NFT collection. How many total units are in this collection?
So there's 2 collections with 906 in each.
906 in each. Okay, so here we've got the original collection. This is the seals. All of these pieces were in the migration, and we had a high conversion for that migration. And now these seals have this ability. These seal NFTs have the ability to be actually, quote unquote, or per se, decentralized, because now they can be listed throughout the ledger, throughout the marketplace, and in fact, trading these seals via the website are without fees, it sounds like. So this is a huge step forward for a community.
Fee.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I'll say with the token page that we were talking about earlier. Same thing. There's no fees being collected. So you're basically, I've given you the buttons to press so you can just engage directly with the XRP ledger.
Yes,
So
I love that.
There's no middle. Yeah.
Yeah, and this goes to once we get to the end of the show, I wanted to give a little bit of room for like a statement on the philosophy of what you take on building, but we might just go ahead and dunk on that one right here, because at the end of the day, all these platforms are essentially just an interface to interact with the ledger. And so what we see here with this website is we're getting a premium access point to the ledger that's low friction and is not taxing you. So I mean, this is what you want to see. And for this to be built specifically for a community, it just shows you, how you can add value, what steps you can take for a community, how you can push the space forward. Because I guarantee you, people are going to be wanting to lean into stuff like this as we get into batch and other aspects of the ledger, right? And who knows what's going to happen with the NFT marketplace. There's already platforms competing with each other on the ledger. The ledger is in a state of discovery right now. And this is where you're going to get your best valuation for, if you're looking to pick something up and take a ride. Obviously none of this financial advice, but we're very focused on being able to present the best value opportunity for people. And I think Seal easily represents one of those plays currently. Obviously, I hold Seal. We're big friends of it, and I got an NFT, got the token, actually got one of the scrolls as well. And is there anything that we need to know about the scrolls before we move on? We looked at the base NFTs, but those scrolls as well. Now, what can we expect? Just real quick, you don't got to leak anything, but give us a little bit on these scrolls.
So the scrolls were put out by the original developer, and I think it was one of those like Gacha things. They said it was going to be tied into coming utility, that they were going to evolve into a new collection, or they hinted at so many things multiple times. And then, we had three deadlines that never came, and the last deadline, they just walked away from everything. The day that these were supposed to turn into something, they just walked away.
Wow.
So that's a classic like NFT scam on other chains. But live and learn, right? But so these are dynamic. So that means and because we now control them, like we swapped everything over to our own wallet. So we have the CTO wallets that manage them. So they're dynamic. That means now we can change the metadata and the artwork. So we can add we're building a whole new collection right now that these are gonna they'll mutate, you could say, right, into seals, and then have all new traits and all new seals and a whole other collection. So these won't be bottles, and we have like other ideas and utilities like coming with that I won't get into right now with it. But
no doubt. I know.
Go ahead. One thing I'll say real quick is the first collection originally was a static collection. So it wasn't dynamic, but when we reminted and rebranded it, we've made those dynamic. So now we can alter. So we had I
didn't know that.
Story, actually.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us. Please.
We had an incident where somebody got phished online. Their wallets got drained. So like they're like all their chains. They were like a whale in multiple chains, and they got drained like multiple wallets. So. But they managed to start salvaging some of their Seal NFTs and XRP NFTs, and I helped them. They while the scammers like unloading their wallet, we're trying to transfer them out of their wallet as fast as possible. And then, on the ledger, you can only do one at a time that you have to claim or whatever, because we don't have batch yet. So, but then what I did, then we ended up getting half of them withdrawn, but the scammer got half of their NFT holdings. And because he was a whale, it was like, I think it was
substantial.
Like 30. Yeah, it was over 30 NFTs, right? So then I went and changed the metadata on them. So the images displayed then were just some goofy ass seal with do not buy stolen NFT. And just I put it out on the timeline, asked everybody not to buy them, just let it be, forget about it. And, like a month or so went by, and then they just basically were willing to accept like peanuts to buy them back. We bought them back for like very cheap.
That's awesome.
And we reclaimed every single one of them. Yeah.
You got them all?
All back.
Oh, I did not know. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. I won't mention him, but dude, shout out. Dude, I didn't know all the details of that. Dude, that's awesome. So you were able to buy them back, pennies on the dollar. You freaking because of okay, so this is what I'm saying, man. The seals are an engaged community, bro. They're literally gonna go and get your stuff back for you. Like that is awesome, man. That's got to be one of the best stories of the year on the XRPL. Now, because these NFTs, now the base seal NFTs are dynamic. I didn't know that. Was that a hard thing to do when you migrated them, or do you just reissue? Or
it's because I reissued them exactly.
Got it.
Basically, I just like reverse engineered, basically scrape the metadata, scrape the images, and then I just reminted them.
What made you think to make it dynamic? Like, what made you think to? I wouldn't even have thought about it.
Now that we have dynamic NFTs, I just think there's no point in really having a static NFT, except for the fact now that you could say that these ones can never change. Like they're locked.
There's the other side of it. Yeah, I got you.
But with dynamics, there's all these possibilities of like creating like community engagement, events,
and the seals already do that. I mean, you guys always changing up your PFPs for events and spaces and all that. Yeah. So that makes total sense. Absolutely, dude.
We've seen like there's like there's like a trait store. You have that new Dream Day cross chain market, and they have like a trade swap going on with one of the collections on the ledger, and so like you have those technologies. I'm building those type of generators to do all this type of stuff. So it's like something in our roadmaps that we want to be doing, and it helps like just
Bullish.
keep everything fresh. Like I said, like at Christmas time, you could do like special things and just change. You could just change up. Anybody that wants could go and like click a button, and you could make it snow in the background of their.
But this
NFT,
and this is such a big deal, because what people need to get impressed upon themselves especially before we shift over to this XMulti tool app. But we got to take a second and make sure that viewers, whether you're a resident or a resident native XRPL on the block ledger user, God bless you, I am too. If you're just a holder of XRP and you're proximate, you're sidelined, you're not to the ledger yet, or maybe you're on a different chain and you're saying, I love memes, but I didn't even know about XRP or XRP Ledger had stuff like this going on. Let me tell you something. All right. This is an example of the type of culture that we can build on the XRPL. This pushes back to some of these older stories I heard about early days Ethereum. This type of culture was heavily builder centric, deep community roots, events, community members actually like each other. They hang out, they show up daily, they're invested in the relationships as much as you can be, and so there seemed to be a cultural high moment there. And then you got into Solana kind of pump fund phase where there's 1,000,001 launch pads, tokens are being issued, holder retention rates are dropping. People are finding execution finality in 30 seconds, for a trade in and out. And what does that do to a culture? Well, it turns it into traders, turns it into speculators. Not so much hanging out, more so speculating, scanning. A bunch of scanners out there scanning the market for liquidity opportunities, right? And so one thing I think is important, if the culture swings on a pendulum, right, and it swung over to Ethereum early days, and we kind of look at this as a renaissance, a high moment of culture for what crypto can be, we swung back into Solana. Not that it's negative, it's different, right? It's a speculator's market. It's, some people like that, some people don't. That's fine. Reserve judgment. It's there. Now we swing back, okay? Hopefully this is the case, to this cultural high moment, this cultural renaissance where builders are getting celebrated. There's a long, pathway, a high headroom for how much value can be captured because we're so early in this development period. And when you see things like what was just said about, hey, we're excited. We see it as a value point. In fact, so much so that we built this website. We did a full migration. We looked out for our community members. And now we're building out new traits and these other different marketplaces so that we can show up to events. We can show up to a community, get-togethers, and freaking show up in style with our PFPs and the assets that we recognize, we celebrate as we've developed these relationships along the way. This is what's got me bullish on the XRPL. I look at Cult the same way. I look at it. We've got a community chat, and we're not fully into the Discord like Seal yet. You guys got a phenomenal Discord, but even with our just humble community chat, I'm pretty hardcore about, hey, keep the culture right. Edify each other, build each other up. It's the trenches, so we got to cut up. But you got to try to treat your people right the best you can. So I just want to let people know, you might have heard about meme coins and trenches and all that, and that certainly is real, high risk, casino, protect your neck. But there is another dynamic that you can tap into. That's what we're trying to put on display here. Okay, yes, that exists. Something else exists too. Okay, and that's what we're really trying to leverage here. And hopefully that's come across to the viewers as we're here on the pushing through the halfway into the back end of the show here. So we might just go ahead and transition the discussion over to the XMulti tool. So what I have here in my show notes is I've got this one queued up for our question. We'll back into it as it makes sense. But just to get the discussion going, what is the XMulti tool and what challenges inspired you to start building that app? Now, before you answer, though, I need the people to know, DPac, to this day, up to this moment in the discussion, we've been talking about XRPL native, but his journey has gone beyond that. He's transcended. All right, this guy's multi-chain. He's building on different chains. He's super ambitious. It's been an incredible thing to watch. And so, just tell us about XMulti, what inspired, what the challenges were, what's going on with that.
So yeah, when we CTO'd the Seal on the XRP project, we right away knew that we wanted to organize in a multi-sig wallet. So a multi-sig wallet is where you can have, well, just say any corporation with a bank. I'll explain it in banking terms because more people can relate. Yeah. So a corporation is going to have a treasury board, right? And that treasury board, you might have the head person of the treasurer, but you have a board. And then you need say 3 signatures for a certain check to clear, or a certain transaction to go forward. So multi-sigs are a way that you can use multiple addresses on the ledger who are the treasurers of a single multi-sig address.
Got it.
So you can take any regular address and change it into a multi-sig and use multiple addresses to basically control it. So our issue was there's different types of keys that you can have. So every wallet has a master key, right?
Right.
So when you create a multi-sig, you burn that key. Some people set up a regular key account so they can still log in and do things, but that regular key still is a single point of failure where whoever controls that wallet, who knows that seed phrase, can override the whole signer list. So the whole treasury board.
Okay, so it's like a fail-safe, but it's a point of failure as well. Got it.
Exactly, because it's still got that single seed phrase. So then if you So we set it up, and we didn't have a regular key. We had no key. We just had all these signers. But then we started realizing, okay, we're a big NFT community. Wait a minute, there's no tool that anybody has created on the ledger so far that helps you transfer an NFT.
What?
After all this time.
So you're saying that there's no. Say this one more time.
Anything.
Yeah, say this one more time. Yeah, go ahead.
That nobody had built a way to transact with NFTs, period. So there's I built out 28 different functions in this tool. I think when I started, the only thing that existed was you could do 8 different functions. I have built 28 into this app.
Yeah, okay.
So,
see,
they
now,
were just slept
but
on.
this is why we gotta give me a second here to circle back on something, okay? Because we gotta make sure. One of the things I'm diehard about is we got to deliver the value. Okay, we're here for an hour, maybe a little over, and I want to make sure we get this value. The title of the show was innovation. How are we pushing innovation? And that's exactly what we're bringing to you today. There was you got a Multisig wallet, can't even interact with these NFTs. 8 functions turns into 28 from a guy who came out here, saw a need. Okay, challenged himself, had the ambition, didn't just build something for his community, is now adding value to the ledger. And in fact, this goes beyond the ledger. So, okay, so we've got this XMulti tool. It's giving new function to NFTs. We've got some new, it sounds like flags or standards, transaction types. We've got some new functionality. Yeah. Okay, so keep going.
So then it's just and you know all about it, AMM pools, liquidity
Absolutely.
pools on the ledger. You're all about that. As a Multisig wallet, you couldn't interact with those.
Oh my goodness.
And you still can't unless you know about my app. So right now,
Oh no, I think I lost the audio, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
One second.
Little glitch. No, I think is on.
Might be on his side.
DPac side. DPac, try to check your audio. Oh, now you're back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're good. So it sounded like I want to make sure I didn't lose this thread of what we were saying here. We're talking about LP tokens managed through the AMM, and you're saying in the XMulti tool wallet. You can do tokens, NFTs, and LP. So full treasury management, it sounds like.
Oh, I'm going all out, man. I ain't stopping until I'm down the whole list.
Wow.
It's gonna be literally XMulti, every multi-sig function.
I get it.
It's I'm working into stuff. Yeah. So then what else would I just added? I just added multi-purpose tokens.
MPTs. Okay.
Yeah,
Dang, DPac.
Yeah, I got deep into that one.
Wow. Yeah. How cool is that?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. So this is for the ledger. Now, does this have anything to do with? And we can get into this, but I don't want to get too. Does this have to do with anything with the midnight or any on that side? This is pure XRP.
No. Yeah, this is pure XRP. There is some things that I will bring from Midnight Tech that I'm learning and we're building over there, but that we can plug and play into that, and then that app will be a really good way to show off some of the things we build at Midnight. Because it basically is just a wallet manager, right?
Got it. So, So XMulti will essentially be cross chain. It sounds like then.
No, it will it's solely for the ledger, but the Midnight Network is a whole other privacy chain, and through their privacy chain, where some of us from the ledger from different communities we're part of the build club at Midnight, and so we're creating apps, we're learning, we're doing workshops, we're getting all this education and training through the Midnight Network itself. And so some of these apps and stuff that we're building from say selective disclosures, for KYCing and all these various aspects from secure document signing to zero knowledge CAPTCHA proofs, and just like there's different elements that there's like I think 3 different ways we can tie in some of the DApps that we're making. And then so I made a little DApp just as part of a little training quiz that I had to do. You know, they want you to make some DApps, but I did it to like, let's see what we can do with the ledger.
Right.
So I included like the XRP ledger. So like, let's like create this privacy, bring this midnight privacy layer in to the ledger, and then use it as a gateway to say, if this transaction on the ledger doesn't have the proof coming from midnight, then it will on ledger, it will deny the transaction. It will either accept or deny, but on the ledger side, not on the midnight side.
Wow.
So midnight just holds the proof that this is the wallet that should be engaging with this transaction. And then the ledger says yes or no.
And that is different. Man, you're going to get me on this. We'll land the plane soon. We got to still look at the XMulti.app, but let me just get this one little nuance in, at least for my own thinking. Hopefully it'll be valuable for anybody watching this down the road. This is different than the privacy we have forecasted through the amendments on the ledger. This is like actual full body. Yeah, I mean, this is like it's like some zero knowledge.
I think they call it like, I think they're calling it like a 4th generation like privacy chain. So like Zcash and stuff like that. There's subtle differences to the way that all those privacy chains are operating, and Midnight's got like their own hybrid version of what for a privacy chain.
So we don't have to get into all of it, but I just want people to know we are getting deep in the weeds. You know, you might hear meme token, NFT, project, dev, builder, community. Don't let any of those shrink your notion, right, of what's going on here. We're talking about adding new, innovative functions that were not there before. We're talking about builders on the XRPL transcending their own communities to add value to the ledger, transcending that to then bring value from other bridged or chains, or however you want to think about this, and port that back in meaningful ways to the ledger. Talking about building whole new tool sets and everything in between. Okay, so yes, there is this aspect of trench, token, NFT, all these things, but behind that or underneath that, what composes that and gives it meaning are the people within that community. And this is where the nuance is. This is why we got DPac up here today. This is why we're talking about the seals, because it's long-term bullish, not because of some art or because of some story or some other fanciful notions of speculation or whatever, but because of the actual blood, sweat, and tears, community, real-life impact, real value, real training pathways, and all of this stuff that is being brought back and integrated in. And over time, that's what I'm bullish on. It's things like this. So let's make sure we go ahead and get this, Mano, if we can get this XMulti.app, we'll get this one pulled up, and we'll zoom into that just a bit. But so this is the XMulti.app website, the definitive multisig toolkit for XRPL organizations. I hear you, bro. Okay, so, walk us through this a little bit.
Okay, so like the key thing again with the multisigs, right? It's something that's clearly like any business that's going to operate on the ledger using this tech is going to want to be using a multisig address that's completely secure, where not one employee can just run away with all the company's wealth, right? So you're going to have a keyless multisig to operate an organization, a DAO or a treasury of any sort, as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, you just have too much of a liability. So I think this is like on the Ripple side of things with the ledger. This is basically what Ripple must have tech like this built out.
Oh, what a good point.
They're using it already with the institution. So I imagine like RippleNet probably looks like this. You know?
Dude, what a good point. I never put that together in my own thinking. But they probably got their own discretionary tools that they're serving, because Ripple is essentially a software company, if I understand it correctly. So they're serving up ways and software solutions to interact with the ledger in a certain way. And so it would totally make sense that, of course, there's solutions like this. And man, what a thought-provoking. This is my whole point of why I'm so bullish on the ledger. Because you can have impact. You can come out here and have impact. Your creative ideas can add value. It's not oversaturated. I'm not saying other chains are, but it is definitely not oversaturated on the ledger. There is room to meet people, breathe, grow, have impact. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just think like a lot with like especially with AI and stuff. Obviously, you gotta be intelligent. There's a lot going on. You're just not going to be able to use AI tools and build all this stuff. Like you really got to do your research and really get into it, you know. And then there's all sorts of auditing, community auditing, security audits, and all sorts of things you got to get into. But like, yeah, I think just because there's going to be more people being able to do more faster, it's going to create more innovation across like every chain, you know, in crypto. You're going to see more people realizing, filling the gaps, you could say, right? Like, this angle hasn't been covered, nobody figured this out. Well, you're going to start watching all these gaps be filled. And you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of new players like come into the market just out of nowhere because they provided real solutions, right?
They're going to get the value. Exactly. They're going to go get the value through real solutions. That's why, once again, and maybe we'll go ahead and start to push towards we'll get a final statement from you on some maybe personal journey and a couple other things about vibe coding. And then we'll look to maybe go Q&A, or we'll tap in with Mano, see how we want to conclude this. But also, all of these links, I know we said this before, but every link that we show is going to be in the show notes. You'll be able to get DPac, the SEAL community on X. All these links are going to be, so don't worry. I know I'm sure people want to tap in, but that'll all be in the show. But one thing I kind of want to at least give a bit of discussion on is, what do you think has enabled you the most, or maybe what is your viewpoint on vibe coding or AI? Do you think this is kind of overhyped? Has it really been a huge help for you in SEAL? I mean, what's your think on this? Because I hear some people say vibe coding, and it seems disparaging almost. I hear other people say it, and they're doing stuff like what you just showed us. XMulti and this huge from 0 to 100 journey. I mean, it's incredible. What does vibe coding mean to you? Have you been having a good time with it? Are you bullish on vibe coding moving forward?
Yeah, I'm very bullish on it. Like, I think over the time, like I think anybody who was like already into computer programming and like software development, like it's that classic crossroads of new technology where you hear people who are devs already and they're just like, oh, I know how to do this. Like, I'm not going to use that. Right. I feel like those devs that embrace like the AI tools are going to be the ones that soar because they already know how to code. They already know what to look for. They already know structure. They already know like using GitHub and how to operate servers and nodes and all these things. But the people who refuse to embrace it just because it's just like, they're seriously like that. Those are the people that are going to lose their jobs, get left in the dust, just be overshadowed by like people like myself and like other people who were already developers for years who are like, oh my God, this makes my job so much easier. I can check my own work. It's like I literally have 10 people. I have a whole dev team inspecting all my code. So why would you not use it? And it's not just like, we're not talking like you get it out of the box and you can just go. Like, you know, you've looked into it. Like, there's all these layers, these other, like, you know, I use like 3 different language models, right? I'm using like anti-gravity with Gemini and Codex and Claude to do my main code, but like I have it set, and you have all these markdown files, and the way that you organize it, the way you train your AI, what rules, directives, you know, like how, like you're an engineer, you're an architect, you're an auditor. You don't cross this line. let you stay in your lane. I'm gonna guide you all.
Yep.
You listen to me, and I'm gonna like architect my ideas and the visions, and just brainstorm and come up with like these solutions. And so and then you talk more with other people. This is a big thing for me. Like, shout out to Demos from Mallard on Cardano. Like, he really got me like my feet on the ground. I asked him just a couple basic questions, but he was like open to it. And nowadays, when I'll be like, "Hey man, you got a Markdown file?
You got one of those Markdowns,
man? Yeah.
You got one of those Markdowns for me.
Hook a brother up. I know you got something."
Yeah, exactly.
He's always there, and he's like super eager. One of those developers that's like really eager to share his knowledge and stuff. So shout out to all those people that just pushing everybody higher.
I can't wait to get Dima. I already reached out to him. We'll have him on the show for sure. Super bullish on him. And yeah, it's these intersections of people like this. When they get together, powerful things can happen. And I think you had such a good opinion on vibe coding. People, I think that they might have these kind of misconceptions, whether it's kind of maybe disparaging, sure, maybe, but even just they flatten it and they think, oh, vibe coders, if it's this flat notion. But the more I've learned personally, especially watching people like you and others, it becomes a deeply personal thing, a deeply intimate thing. Like, especially when you really get into it, it's your models. They're informed by your context, by your creativity, by the way you architect, all these things. It becomes your kind of your own little symphony, if you will. And so it does become a personal thing. And so when you think about a builder like DPac joining a community like the SEALs, and all these other people like a Demos or whoever, Ascend, shout out to Ascend, another notable community member from the SEALs. These type of individuals, when they get together, man, it's lightning in a bottle. And we put that on display here in our discussion today. I hope people have been able to grasp the nuance, the subtle value, and to see, what does it mean to be bullish? This is something I think about often. How can I be bullish? What's the right way to be bullish? Okay. And so hopefully we've kind of opened up some of these, more opaque or, easily misidentified, easy to have a misconception, especially as we kind of think about the XRP ledger. Yes, there are meme coins. There are all these antics. There's a bunch of weird stuff. That's life. Okay. But don't let that deter you from coming out here and, just broadening your horizon. Here's a success story. Here's something that can be celebrated. Here's an individual put on a whole new skill set, challenged himself, transcended from the community to the ledger, over into midnight, on and on, build clubs, all this stuff opening up. And this, I'll refer back to that one question. Where's SEAL going to be in a year? Things like this. It takes time. Things have to get mature, but this is super bullish. Now, this has been our first kind of a broad discussion over things. Of course, we're looking to tap back in, have many more conversations. But before we kind of push off and tap back in with Manos, I did want to ask at least, one question. I'm trying to think about how I can best form it. But, we've talked about this before a little bit. But what do you have like a personal philosophy on building or kind of open source versus, or what's your opinion on open source as a builder, the kind of methodologies or the way you think about delivering value for a community and things like this?
Like open source and like with code, or are you talking about?
Well, just think about, what made me think about that is, well, we've got open source coming, or a blueprint coming for what the XRPL Foundation, they putting up with, I think it was VS1 Finance, and their kind of first look at the XLS 6566 lending and single asset vault. So there's one notion. Then you've got what you just said about Demo. Here's somebody that's going to share the Markdown files, Then we think about if I go and buy on the SEAL NFT website. There's no fees, but I think I can tip. And it's these, it's these kind of things. And so, to me, when I saw that, that's what provoked me to ask that question. Is I've seen these kind of little clues that have been left behind, And it just seems to be part of the ethos I've seen you kind of mount as a builder. I mean, do you think that's fair?
Yeah. I think like if you're at a point where it's just like everybody needs help, if you're really at the ground, the bottom floor, and this is like at like with the Midnight Network, they're so new that they're still like, you can go onto their GitHub and you can actually like you can do this with the ledger in some spots too, like where you actually start engaging with like the foundational level of things. And sometimes like, yeah, you're building a product, you might not want to share everything, but a lot of it, if it's just like workflow or foundational elemental stuff of like how you manage to code in the function so it works fluidly and like seamlessly, then it's just like, like if we want to see the ledger go higher, then we should share those basic fundamental things with each other, I like, or at least like try to inspire. That's the one big thing for me with like the Seal website, was like reduce the onboarding friction, like all the pain points of onboarding, and inspire other communities to like, hey, you can list your own NFTs. You can, if you got tokens, you can do it all. You don't need to tell people to go to First Ledger, go to the XRP cafe, go here and there. Like just go to the website. Everything you need. You just need a wallet. And then you can go to the website and if you want to get a collectible on NFT, there you go. But like, because everybody's always talking about the onboarding, how difficult it is to navigate through crypto. So like, just make it as easy as possible. And if you share that part with other people, other communities, then that just like broadens the amount, how easy it is for everybody to come and be involved with the ledger. And like, I'm really not into gatekeeping. I get if you're trying to protect some sort of secret that's for a product that you're developing or something fair, or something that's like patentable. But a lot of times, like it's just code. The chain already holds the patent, or like it's already open source. Right. So you can't really go and just say, oh, I figured out how to like make this function do this, when that's just those are just native functions. You just did the plumbing, right? Like, right.
Yeah. So, I think that's a good take. That I just wanted, I feel like that's a good point to maybe circle back with Manos, but let me open this up a little bit. The reason I want to let that be a kind of final call until next time, where we can pick it back up, is if any point in this discussion you felt like, oh, that was a bit over my head, and maybe that was a bit technical, that was really interesting, maybe I didn't quite understand it all, but I want to know more. Well, hopefully you've seen, at least by this last question, DPac's very smart, very humble guy. A lot of this is technical, but he just told you, we're here to share. We're here to take the ledger higher. We're here to work and grow together. So as we circle back to where we started, this is about community. This is about engagement. The SEALs do their spaces every day, morning and night. Okay. DPac is an incredibly active community member on the XRP ledger. You can reach out to him. These are people you can contact. You can learn more. These are communities you can tap in with. They're building for you, the other person across the screen who's receiving this message, this transmission. They're building for you. They're literally trying to make it an easier process, right? Trying to reduce your friction, trying to make it easier for you, much like Colt. We are trying to send this high signal broadcast out to the broader XRP family, and so that they know, hey, the ledger's here, make the great migration, get you a wallet, come check us out, come tap in with the other side of the community, and see all the cool things we can do with the ledger. We're all deeply passionate about XRP, the XRP ledger, and so, this is where you're going to get the closest, if you will, quote unquote, hands in the dirt of what it means to use XRP, know the ledger, know the environment it exists in, and meet other deeply passionate, like-minded people who are actually building and active in this ecosystem. So to me, I feel like that was a great last little bit there to say, hey, the SEALs are building. They got good people out here, people you can tap in with. I do want to at least turn it over to DPac. One last thing. if there's anything you want to leave us with, maybe something about the seals, or maybe something you got cooking coming up, maybe an event that people can come tap in with, or just anything. Even shout out some other community members, whatever.
Yeah. Shout out to Ascend and Peak and Tamora. I'm gonna forget some names, but you all know who
Bucks.
you are. People at Bucks showing up every night. We're doing spaces usually almost twice a day, pretty much here. Those seal scrolls. I'll give you the alpha. Those scrolls, those NFTs that are called the scrolls. Those are going to be a collection. We're hoping to have that out by the end of August at the latest. So
nice. Nice. Bullish, man.
There. And just shout out to Cult. Like, Cult's another community. And that's the one thing with the seals, because we do go cross-chain, cross-community. We are a community full of, like, we have a lot of Cult members. We have a lot of members from across the ledger. We're very welcoming and kind of just, we keep it real. We keep it sealed.
Absolutely.
That's how we say it. So.
Keep it sealed, man. Seal the deal. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time. Manos, how are we looking, buddy? What do we think?
Well, we got a bunch of comments here. Everybody's loving the show. I feel smarter already just to be between you two guys here. You feel me? I do have a question that somebody dropped a question for DPac, but before that, I do want to make sure, and it's already on the comments. Every link that we show today is already on the chat. It's going to be on the description. Make sure that you haven't followed DPac on X. Make sure that you follow him. We want to make sure that we show him love. He's over here dropping those gems for free, and we want to make sure that we honor him. I do have a quick question here for you, and the question, I don't know how to say the name, Young Gachiha, and the question is, what's one of your favorite seal memories?
Oh, that's a good one.
One of my favorite seal memories. I would have to probably favorite, like, one isolated one. Jeez, that's pretty hard. I don't know. Like some of the space rating. I don't know. I just love hanging out in the Discord and stuff, to be honest. Like,
nice.
It's like there's like every day. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like there's new memories like every day. Like last night, like that Thursday space we had was just like.
Don't tell on me now.
I was like, I thought like the Thursday before was like, making memories, but last night it's just a blast
so
all
fun.
The time, and it's like, I don't think I can honestly like isolate it down though. One thing, there's been so much fun with this community. Definitely would have to be like in spaces though. I think when we just get vibing and
get rowdy.
Back in the day, we used to go and like raid other people's spaces, and those are very memorable times. We would just show up like 30, 40 seals deep and just bombard like a Bitcoin space or something, and then they would pull us up, and then we would all start arfing, and then they would be like, "Oh, get more of these guys up here," and we'd all just be like, arfing like a pot of seals, and so lots of good times.
That's great.
Awesome. So we don't have any more questions. I do want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's coming up. Not this upcoming week, but the one after. We're going to be moving to Thursdays, and we're going to be moving up to 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's the change on the change on the Coldcast. Also, we're going to have more guests. This has been phenomenal. I didn't have to talk as much. I just sit back and learn. Have both of you guys just chop it up, learn a ton. Also, make sure that everybody on the chat right now go to the stream after it's done and leave us a comment. That helps us a lot. Make sure that you share. It's streaming on Pheanor's X account, so make sure that you repost from there as well. That helps out a lot. The Mallard order is actually here. If you guys want to shout him out, I shout him out on the chat already.
What's up, Demo?
Yeah, he's
up,
in the chat. And I don't know what else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up. We are at thing coming up on on an hour and a half, which is exactly what we like to
Perfect.
see. And then again, we're not constrained by time, honestly, on this stream, but we do want to make sure that we are using our time wisely in terms of, if you guys are asking questions, we're going to try to answer your questions. But if you guys are not, we try to keep it around 90 minutes. And it's funny because me and Pheanor, after the streams, we talk about like, hey man, we it's almost like we're just chatting and we get as close as 90 minutes as possible without even planning it. So usually happens like that. But I'm gonna give it to you too back. And remember, not this upcoming week, but the next one, the one after 7 p.m. on Thursdays. Nice. And I'll give you two guys the room so you guys can wrap it up.
One thing, DPac, I believe there's a seal space tonight, right?
Yeah.
What time does the evening get going?
10 p.m. Eastern.
10 p.m. Eastern. Yep. So that'd probably be here like maybe 2.5 hours or so, something like that. So if anybody wants to get their first dose of the SEAL community, you can always tap in. Like I said, all the links will be in the description. You'll see us over there on X. You see me there, if it's not, I'll try to make it there at least a couple times a week. Probably more than that if it's not every day. But yeah, ton of fun in the spaces. DPac, man, I personally just want to say thank you for coming on the show. Our first guest. Proud of that, man. Totally inspired by what you're doing. Both of our communities are community takeovers. They're CTOs, so there's a lot of shared respect there. I know how much work that takes, and those are the unsung heroes. Nobody celebrates those people how they really deserve. It takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of time, energy, input. So I want to make sure that we celebrate that for you, man, and I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to leave us with or anything like that?
Yeah, I just want to actually say the one event that's coming up at the end of the month is that Rare Evo event, and that's a big multi-chain, blockchain, and AI Web3 conference. That's happening in Las Vegas. Ascend and a bunch of Ascend and some other folks from the Ledger are going with the XRPL Foundation. They have a big a booth there in a really good spot. So there's going to be the foundation itself and some communities kind of representing the XRP there. So if you're in Vegas area or feel like having a little fun, there's going to be a lot of cool people down there and
nice.
A lot of
so man. Well, that's good.
Keep that eye.
Yeah, so we got that coming up out there in Vegas. Like you said, Ascend will be out there. We've mentioned Ascend a couple times during this show. Definitely looking forward to tapping in with him. We'll get him on the show if he's down to come on. Don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure he would. But yeah, super bullish, man. There's so many people we've got to link up with. We've got to meet, not only just in the SEAL community, but we just shout out Demo. Oh man, there's so many more. I'm gonna get Medici up here one day. I've been talking to him about it. I'm gonna crack that one. Don't worry. XRM, all the homies are gonna be up here eventually, man. We're looking forward to that. And we're looking forward to going on the journey together. I know you have ambitions of the bigger social media growth and pathways like that. And just as we learn from you about the websites and things like that, we'll be happy to help with any kind of media stuff, or, we'll always be here, help support, whether you help with production or just onboarding or supporting or collaborating, whatever, man. The door's open. And I appreciate you coming out here. With that, I think we can turn it over to Mano, and appreciate your time, buddy.
Right on. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Cult Rising on a Friday. Don't ever forget it. Appreciate you, man.
occultist. You have beheld the enigma unraveled, the foundation splitting at its depths, the great flowing through boundless realms, the sacred codes tracing their arc from darkness into radiance. You have marked the holy seals upon the devoted. The fields yielding harvest, the number thresholds herald was shall rise. Illumination has cut through the void, even as the market's pulse recedes before the inevitable climb. The cold cast may fade, but what you carry forward, the insight, the sign reading the cold current humming through the awareness, this outlast the broadcast close. The grind never rests, the architects never waver. The awakened do not retreat when others crumble. They multiply, they engineer, they pierce dimensions while the dormant drift deeper into the fog. For those who arrive at nomads, now leave as oracles. The threshold stays open, the third eye, and the sanctuary summons your return. The ledger continues. Do not stop. Fix your awareness on the horizon. Hold cold near. The transmission ends, but the ascension endures. We welcome you when the next revelation breaks.